when you think about the fact that Nigeria itself is going to be 60 this year, and you think about the fact that its bar association is having a 60th conference, it literally tells you that it definitely predates the independence of Nigeria in itself. And then when you think about the number of Nigerians who are in the legal profession, when you think about the number of learned Nigerians, as you guys like to say, it's interesting to have unlearned people come and talk to you today. But the thing is, I look at lawyers and I think in terms of the critical role that you play in the context of the entire society. I think in terms of the fact that if you do a mapping of the society and different parts of our lives, you would see many critical parts where the legal profession is actively engaged, actively involved, and very much a part of it. Now, according to the executive director of the Institutional Advancement at Texas Law, a good lawyer is like a good chess player, always considering everything on the board and thinking ahead by 3 or 4 moves. And when you map out our society and you think about the different spaces where the lawyers play, you're going to look at like a National Assembly, and you will know that without a doubt, if you take statistics from other clients and you sort of extrapolate into our situation, the percentage of the members of the House that would be from the legal profession will be quite substantial. When you think in terms of our electoral process, and you think of the role that lawyers play in different parts of the electoral process, you realize how much they influence our lives. When you think in terms of the rule of law, and you imagine the fact that, of course, you cannot be a judge without being a lawyer, to represent us through the process, through the judiciary process, are also themselves lawyers. When you think in terms of the corporate organization, there's hardly any major contract of any note or any critical decision that will not have a legal opinion or a legal voice involved. When you think in terms of transactions of even marriage, it's a legal contract in itself, buying a house. And so in reality, lawyers are a key part of every part of our lives. And considering the fact that lawyers are learned, my hands is like this. Lawyers are learned in terms of the law, and the contract or terms of reference we have determined for ourselves as a society, whether through the Constitution or our different codes that we're guided by, you realize just the impact, the influence, and the opportunity that lawyers have to build and to shape. Now, the question then is to go back and say, if we have had a very active, engaging, legal part of our social system, because we've had lawyers, we've had some of the most brilliant lawyers you can imagine within our system for decades. You cannot but relate it back to where we are in terms of our society. So I was just going to say that the theme for this year's conference is stepping forward. And my challenge for you, and I hope I don't get into trouble with, I have too many friends and brothers who are key members of the legal profession. But my challenge for you today is it's really time to step forward. I mean, you guys have fortuitously chosen an appropriate theme because it's unacceptable and inexcusable at this point to imagine that our representation across different levels, our influencers at different levels, whether in business, whether in politics, whether through our judiciary, whether through activism, at different levels of our lives, that those who have the power to influence are lawyers who have the right knowledge, who have the ability to use that knowledge constructively for the benefit of our society. We need to go beyond the knowledge that we have to add character and a sense of responsibility and commitment to nationhood. To go beyond the economic value that we can build from the profession. And I'm a firm believer in the fact that whatever we do, when we do it well, it will ultimately pay us. So there are a lot of deserving, successful lawyers in our country who work hard and create a lot of value in practicing their law. But there are also many charlatans, let's be honest. There are also many people who use the profession to create damage within the country and the context of nation building. And except that as an organization, collectively, that the Nigerian Bar Association is willing to hold itself accountable, hold its membership accountable, stand up for truth and justice, seek to make each person who wears the toga of honor of being a lawyer and a learned colleague, who wears the toga of being a voice and an informed person, who understands that beyond the title of being a lawyer or beyond the economic return for being a lawyer, there is a responsibility for nation building that is required in order to build an equitable society, and that more than everybody else, the members of the Nigerian Bar Association have the capacity to do that. It is applying the knowledge that you have. It is taking the title that you have as lawyers, but taking it with a sense of responsibility beyond self and organization. It is taking that responsibility into the larger society to understand that for each one person who is a qualified lawyer with the knowledge and the ability to look at things beyond just short term, to look at scenario and look at situations both on long-term impact and short-term impact, much more than other people. Something else Chris Roberts says, he says that being a lawyer gives you an unquantifiable advantage in almost any life pursuit, but especially in legal matters, where the consequences of big decisions aren't always obvious, and the consequences of small decisions are all too often ignored. Your understanding of the law, how many ordinary citizens really know what is in the Constitution? How many of them have a clear understanding of the legal codes that we have? How many are in a position to fight for the ordinary citizen without that knowledge? How many have the ability to understand within the political system how our laws apply in a judicious manner? Largely, a lot of people within your profession. And that means you have the responsibility to carry that burden on behalf of the society. And when we build a more equitable society that works for all of us, we will all profit, including every member of the legal profession. We will have better rule of law within our country. It would aid our political system. It would aid our human rights impact in terms of the lives of our citizens. It would aid our businesses because transactions and contracts and commitment, because people know there are consequences for actions. The great cost that we have paid as a nation, because there are no consequences for the actions of people. And usually, I know that every person is deserving of defense. So lawyers will defend a criminal and an honest man. And every person deserves legal representation. I agree with the logic, because there are times that an innocent man will suffer if he doesn't get the right representation. The appearance of an issue does not necessarily mean that it is. But I'm talking about the bigger issues here and the bigger stake. And I'm challenging you at this point, 60 years after, take stock. And if you can honestly look in the mirror and say, for 60 years, with thousands of members, with thousands of lawyers and many new lawyers being graduated every year, how has the country been fully impacted by the knowledge that we have and the understanding that we possess in terms of building an equitable country where justice reigns? I just want you, with all due respect and no offense meant, to know that for us to build the nation we all dream of, the one we complain about every day, all of us, we're going to have to go outside of ourselves. We're going to have to decide that enough is enough, and it's time to use everything that we have to make a difference. And stepping forward will require sacrifice. It will require truth. It will require sacrifice. It will require accountability. It will require holding people as an organization, holding our peers to account for their actions. It will not permit or allow misbehavior and tolerate it. We will not know the guys who are destroying the reputation of the industry, the reputation of the profession, but who are permitted and allowed because there's nothing we can do. If we're not able to hold ourselves to account, then we have no basis for our existence. I can't see anybody. I'm talking to myself as it is, but I'm having an honest conversation. And I know that we're better than where we are. I know many decent, honorable men and women who are members of the legal profession, who are key parts of the association. And I'm saying that we're better than this. We have the strength of numbers. We have the capacity through knowledge. We have power of influence at every level, whether to influence our political system or to influence our judiciary. Because if we say we have corrupt judges, a judge is corrupt because there are lawyers who want to corrupt the judge. It takes the two to work together. So I'm certain that the Bar Association knows the corrupt lawyers amongst them. So if we want to step forward, it cannot be in mere words. It has to be by the actions that we take. If we know the corrupt judges, we should be the ones speaking out. Because if as an organization, as the Nigerian Bar Association, we speak out together and we have a process that allows us to call out those that are corrupt within judiciary, those that are corrupt within the legal profession. We make the environment better for all of us, for the lawyers, for the businesses, and for the other stakeholders. We allow the ordinary person to have faith in our judiciary system. We allow the ordinary citizen to believe that indeed we're a country where rule of law is effective. It allows us to build up a system that will allow us to get to the kind of, we can be great lawyers. We can have the best law firms or the smallest law firm. We can have the biggest contracts or be part of the biggest cases. But it doesn't matter what we do. If it does not impact in the building of our nation and affects people that you do not know, people that will not say thank you to you, people that will not pay you for it, ordinary people that have no voice, if it does not influence, then really we have served our own interest rather than the overall interest of the society where we live. To be a lawyer is to hold public interest. To be a lawyer and to honor the profession is to be an outstanding citizen. So said Risa Goluboff of Virginia Law. For you to be an honorable citizen, you have to apply your law degree, your knowledge of law, to the greater good of the society. You have to know that when you die, we will remember you beyond the houses, that you have built or the cases that you won or the big clients that you have. But we will remember you because in practicing your law, you stepped out to impact how the larger society has been built and to affect the lives of the ordinary citizens. So, as you have challenged yourself with your theme, it is time to step forward. Tomorrow is already too late for us. For 60 years as a country, we've been striving, but in many ways, we're far from where we need to be. And it's just inexplainable when you think about all the talents that we have as a nation, and that includes all of you. You are the elites, you're educated, you're empowered. It doesn't matter if you've just graduated from law school. You've already fallen into an elite class of enlightened individuals. And the knowledge that you have, you're accountable for. That knowledge is not for decoration. The power of influence that you have to influence the thinking, the minds of all the people around you, to influence laws, to influence actions, to influence the judiciary, to influence the political system, to influence the laws that are made. And when you get into political offices, because every attorney general of this country is a lawyer, every solicitor general is a lawyer, and that multiplies across all the states. So think about the power that you have. Think about it. You have responsibility for public trust. It's time to truly step forward and be accountable to that public and to make that trust really worthy by taking on bigger issues. We might be afraid for individuals within the organization, but collectively, what can anybody do to you? Collectively as an organization, if you stand up and you decide you need to, things will happen. Because many of you have the ears of people that are in position and in power. And they take counsel and they take advice from you every time. You have the ability to make this country work at different levels. All I'm saying is you've already put yourself forward by choosing your theme for the year. After 60 years, yes, it's time to to step forward for good and never look back, and to do whatever it is that is necessary to make this country work for every single citizen, so that at the end of the day, we will remember the legacy of those that we call lawyers within our country, because they fought for it very much. I hope I haven't caused too much trouble. But I love John Lewis, and he says he likes to look for trouble, but good trouble. So I only look for good trouble today, and I hope those who are my friends will forgive me. Have a wonderful conference. Enjoy yourself. But as you do that, just remember, you have public trust, and it has to count for something. So do what you need to do. Don't go back to sleep when you leave here. Thank you.